Sergeant Spartan, you've been sentenced to 70 years, sub-zero rehabilitation in the California cryo-penitentiary for the involuntary manslaughter of 30 innocent civilians.
Skip it.
You will be placed in cryostasis for the duration of your sentence, during which your behavior will be altered through synaptic suggestion. You'll be eligible for parole no earlier than the year 2046.
Oh boy, it's a time travel podcast. My name is Nate, and with me are two guys that would never violate the verbal morality statute of this podcast. It's Brian Martin and Eric Magill, the Unapologetic Geek.
Can't believe you guys had me back. It's amazing.
We'll get you back for an actual discussion about a movie this time.
That's true, yes.
We talked about this last time we saw you. You said, gotta come back for Demolition Man.
It's one of those movies that's been on my list to do a video on for like ever, and I've just never gotten around to it, but this gives me an excuse to.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how Free Jack worked for us. When we talked about Free Jack, we wouldn't have done that episode.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm glad. I mean, there can never be too much Demolition Man content in the world. So.
Yeah, what was it you said last week, Brian? There are two types of people in this world. People who love Demolition Man and those who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I discovered to my horror just a couple hours ago, my wife's never seen it.
Oh, no.
What?
Wow. Well, that gives you an excuse to watch it again. That's the beauty of Demolition Man. You can just, it's like the tape from The Ring.
I have to spread it to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on to the show again, Eric. This is bound to be a great conversation. And just to get us started, I did, in fact, stop by Taco Bell.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about this. Victor of the franchise wars.
Well, only in America.
Yeah.
This is literally the second time in my life that I've ever had Taco Bell.
What?
What? How is that even
time
possible?
This week.
No, here I go.
Holy moly.
50% of my diet when I was in high school.
I got like a cheesy beef burrito and a double stacked taco. So
man.
We'll see how that goes. I'm going to eat it right into this microphone, just like we talked about. But I can't podcast without whiskey, and I feel like that probably would not have gone over well in San Angeles.
No.
Because
not at all.
The alcohol is not good for you, but I'm going to drink it anyway.
You get the best of both worlds, you know?
But you're also drinking whiskey with tacos is not a great idea either. There's better things. Like, here's what I have, okay?
What are you drinking tonight?
I made a drink. I did not get Taco Bell, but I do have a drink that has this in it, and this is Doritos infused vodka.
What?
How is that even possible?
They found a way.
God.
They found a way.
Technology has gone too far.
I made a drink here with mezcal, Doritos infused vodka, and some simple syrup, and that's going to be what I'm enjoying tonight. And
wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, I've got your traditional Taco Bell along with some Sprite and black cherry whiskey.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And Eric?
I've got some nachos, got some green water.
Green water is good.
I mean, it looks like Reanimator juice or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I can't drink. I have blood work tomorrow because I'm an old man.
And you go in there, they're like, didn't we tell you no green water? You drank the green water, didn't you?
No, I'm going to drink lots and lots of green water, and that way, if they have to take like a urine sample, they'll be really surprised.
Well, you'll have to be our designated sober podcaster tonight.
Oh, God. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Who would talk about this movie sober? Who dares?
All right, well, this is not half bad. While I'm enjoying this meal, Brian, do you want to tell us what Demolition Man is about?
Whoa, wait a minute. Doc, are you trying to tell me that my mother has got the hots for me? Precisely.
Yeah. Whew, Okay. So Demolition Man was released on October 8th, 1993. As Nate and I discussed, this was not a summer release, although it really has big summer energy in it. It was written by Daniel Waters, Robert Renaud, and Peter M. Lenkov. Renaud and Lenkov wrote the story, and then Waters came in and did an extensive rewrite and added all the comedy.
That's the guy who did Heathers.
Yes. Yeah. Directed by Marco Brambilla, Canadian-Italian guy. This is his debut film. He's largely known as a video artist now, like collages and shit.
Okay.
Only big movie he ever directed. I think he directed the TV Dinotopia.
He didn't get another job after this?
His job is artist now. Hollywood wasn't ready for him. So Demolition Man, you know it, you love it. It stars Sylvester Stallone as John Spartan, Wesley Snipes as Simon Phoenix.
Gotta love those names.
Greatest fucking names in movie history. Sandra Bullock as Lenina Huxley, both of those named for Brave New World. Nigel Hawthorne as Raymond Cocteau. Benjamin Bratt, young baby-faced Benjamin Bratt as Garcia. Dennis Leary as Edgar Friendly. Bob Gunton, who played Warden Norton in Shawshank and the Owl in season 1 of Daredevil, as Chief Earl. And Rob Schneider is also in this as Irwin.
Oddly, he doesn't get a credit in the actual movie. He's not credited.
Isn't that weird? It's like,
that's bizarre. Why not?
Was he in this movie because him and Stallone were friends after Judge Dredd or something?
I guess.
I
don't know.
I think this was before Judge Dredd, wasn't it?
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. It was. This came before Dredd. Dredd was 95, maybe? Dredd opened the same weekend that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I remember that because I saw Judge Dredd on a Friday, and then the next day my mom took my brother to see Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I was like, well, what the hell else am I going to do on a Saturday afternoon? And so I went and watched that.
That's why
it was a weird weekend. But anyway, so this was before that. I don't know what Rob Schneider's doing in this. Also, notable appearances from Glenn Shaddix of Beetlejuice, who's playing basically the same character he played in Beetlejuice. In this, with the same hair. Jesse Ventura in a really weird cameo as a cryo criminal.
I was going to say, I looked for him both times and I didn't see him.
He's the one who actually shoots the bad guy.
He's the one who shoots Cocteau. But
he gets a credit like at the beginning.
He does, totally.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah.
It is weird because, again, Rob Schneider, but I mean, you don't really want to lead with Rob Schneider. You don't want to say, oh, and Rob Schneider's in this, and everybody's going to be like, The most interesting cameo in this is Dan Cortez, who plays the lounge singer in the Taco Bell.
Right.
Which is wild to me. And if you guys don't remember Dan Cortez, he was Mr. MTV Sports back in the 90s.
I do remember that.
We were all just very jealous of his hair.
He's a male bimbo. He's a mimbo.
There is actually one other cameo that you missed. Jack Black is in this movie.
Ew, where?
There's a whole story here. He was one of the extras in the Underground, one of the scraps. And apparently he was supposed to have a couple of lines, but he kept coming to the set, and every day they would have him sitting in his trailer all day, and then they would send him home because they just didn't have the time to film him that day. And he just got fed up with it. And one day he got really, really drunk and hungover and didn't show up on set. And that was, of course, the day that he was supposed to do his lines.
Oh, wow.
So he is in the movie, but you blink and you'll miss him. You have to look it up on Google just to see the freeze frame where Jack Black is in the movie. But he's there.
Well, that's the reason we have you on this podcast, Eric, is for that kind of information.
I made sure to find at least a couple of little scraps of information. I didn't think
some behind-the-scenes, unapologetic geek style information. Awesome.
I love that. I love that. So this movie, Hamilton and Burr, Edison and Tesla, Ness and Capone. Do you know what all these pairs have in common? None of them hated each other half as much as John Spartan and Simon Phoenix do. Los Angeles, 1996. A burning hellscape of violence and despair. And in this movie, the same is true. Only one man maintains the fragile balance in a city on the brink. John Spartan, the Demolition Man, a devil-may-care law enforcer who leaves just as much property damage in his wake as he does rescued civilians.
Or more.
That all comes to an end one fateful night when his arch-nemesis, Simon Phoenix, implicates Spartan in the deaths of a busload of hostages. For their crimes, both Spartan and Phoenix are imprisoned in a cryo-penitentiary where they spend the next 38 years. San Angeles, 2032, a place so perfect that it's amazing people aren't retching in the streets from all the saccharine vibes. This facade, of course, doesn't extend far below the surface, and the shiny veneer hides a group of disenfranchised scraps, a group of resistance fighters led by Edgar Friendly. As Friendly's revolutionary tactics threaten to upend this pristine society, its chief architect, Dr. Raymond Cocteau, decides extreme measures are called for. Cocteau facilitates the thawing and escape of Simon Phoenix, conscripting the criminal to assassinate Friendly. The police, meanwhile, having devolved into a group of barely effective and largely unnecessary public servants, decide to fight Phoenix the only way anyone ever knew how, by defrosting his greatest nemesis and once again pitting the two men against one another. But will John Spartan, a man out of time with little regard for the decorum of modern society, be able to stop Phoenix without once again turning the city into a pit of ruin? And more importantly, will any of us ever figure out what the hell is up with those three seashells? Demolition Man.
All right, pretty good. How do we feel about this, gentlemen? Do we genuinely love this movie?
I do genuinely, unapologetically love this movie.
I'll second that. Yes.
Yeah. This is the first time I've watched it in a long while. Like I said, I watched it a lot in the 90s, and I think I enjoyed it more this time than I remember liking it. Like, I remember it being silly and over the top and dumb and stuff like that, which it is.
It's all of those things. Yeah.
But it's all of those things, but more. There's more.
Look, I just want to... It's a movie that embraces all of the tropes of late 80s and early 90s action movies. The zingers, the explosions, the Dutch angles, the running around, like all of this stuff is in there. And it's just unabashedly in love with those things. None of it comes off as cornball. This is like a passion project almost. Like, I look at this and the director's like, this man made the movie he wanted to make. I believe in him. And I wish he had made more.
It's bordering on parody of these.
It almost is a self-satire, but in such a way that, like, it's not mean-spirited in any way. It's like, I'm making fun of this because I love it. You know, that
it's a movie where all of the one-liners land. All of the action is good. I think the one-liners land pretty well overall.
You forgot to say Simon Says.
Even that.
Well, I mean, they're supposed to be
we can
bad,
joke about,
but there wasn't anything in there like Schwarzenegger's.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
No.
I don't know. I mean, there was one in there that I absolutely loved, which was...
You're going to regret this the rest of your life. Both seconds of it.
All 2 seconds of it.
2 seconds of it. That's a classic. That is a classic.
That one I loved. The rest of them I was kind of like, these are kind of forgettable, but I don't know.
I think it comes down to the delivery of them. And a lot of the best lines in this movie are delivered by Wesley Snipes as Simon Phoenix.
Yeah. And the director just told Wesley Snipes, go hog wild. That's exactly
Snipes didn't
what
want to do it.
He didn't want to do it originally. Yeah, he turned it down like 3 times, and they had to like go to his house to convince him to come and do the movie.
Oh wow, really?
That's right. I think he was like making Rising Sun, and they were like, "Please come be in this movie." Like they went and confronted him on the set at one point.
Be in this movie.
But, Nate, we've talked on previous episodes of like certain performances just being genuine and authentic, right? And you just believe it. Like Mark Duplass in Safety Not Guaranteed, like we just watched. Like Chad in My Old Ass, right? It's just like there's sincerity here that is so captivating.
And Aubrey Plaza in both of them.
Oh, yeah. Aubrey Plaza in both of those movies. But Wesley Snipes in this movie is just so mesmerizing. Like, he is having so much fucking fun.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
It's impossible to believe he ever said no to this. This seems like the best experience he's ever had as a human.
It might be one of my favorite Wesley Snipes movies just because of how off the wall he is.
So delightful, so
unchained.
unhinged. Every time he screams, like when that scaffolding falls and he's like, whoa, 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 like that. He's like a cartoon character.
The museum is no longer sealed, is it? What can I say? I'm a blast from the past.
Should have stayed there.
Oh boy, that voice sounds familiar. Who is that?
Bad aim, Blondie.
Spartan? John Spartan? Oh shit, they let anybody into this century. What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, he's definitely having fun. He's kind of like an R-rated Frank Gorshin.
He's like a Batman villain.
Yeah, kind of that giggle laugh he does.
He's unstoppable, unpredictable. He laughs at things. He cracks jokes all the time.
Even the other characters in the movie say it looks like he's having fun.
Right.
Apparently, he also improv'd a lot of his dialogue.
Oh, really?
Like half of his dialogue apparently was not written down. He just came up with half of it on his own.
Simon says, everybody stand. And the home of the brave. Play ball.
Well, I guess they didn't extend that same courtesy to Stallone.
I don't think that would have been a good idea.
Well, I did watch the audio commentary, and on the audio commentary, they talked about how Sylvester Stallone, as an actor, he likes rigidity. He likes to know exactly how the scene is going to play out and exactly what he's going to say and all that. And Wesley Snipes is exactly the opposite. He just wants to wing it and have fun. Which anybody who's seen the Patton Oswalt thing about Blade 3 knows that.
Yes, right.
Well, that's perfect. Two sides of the coin.
And they were trying to get that to develop that chemistry between the two characters in the movie that, you know, Stallone is all slow and deliberate and Wesley Snipes is just chaos. And I think it works perfectly.
On paper, this doesn't feel like it should work, like the two of them in a movie together.
Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd combo.
Someone they approached before Snipes was Jackie Chan.
Oh, really?
To be the villain in this movie. And you know, there's that line at the end, or close to the end, where Huxley says she learned how to kick from watching Jackie Chan movies.
Right.
I think that line is there as just sort of a nod to what would have been.
What could have been.
Chan was like, I don't want to play a villain, but I can't imagine Jackie Chan in this role. Like,
I can imagine him playing a villain like that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Jackie Chan as a villain doesn't make sense. Yeah.
No.
I think as far as that pairing, the other thing that I noticed is in the fight scenes, and there are good fight scenes in this movie, I really enjoy the difference in their fighting styles. Had you guys noticed that? Like Wesley Snipes is out there doing his martial arts.
Yeah.
Stick to what you know.
And Stallone's boxing. He's
going for kidney shots.
Yeah, exactly. And just watching those two fighting styles get choreographed together, and you're not seeing, like, sometimes martial arts, if it's done wrong, it can come off more like a dance, you know, too choreographed. And this is Stallone's out there just throwing haymakers at him, you know?
Yeah, they both take hits.
Yeah.
It feels like two guys just like fighting each other, just wailing on each other the only way each of them knows how to.
And they both apparently did that. Like, they had stunt doubles for other scenes, but for the fight scenes, they were doing that together, like, the whole time.
Aw.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And apparently they did have to tell Wesley Snipes to slow down. Apparently he was a little too fast for the camera.
So,
wow. Yeah. That's something.
We've already said he's having fun, but his fighting looks good. It looks real, you know?
Yeah.
They're both really selling it. And even with the gunfights and stuff like that, I do feel, how do you feel about the fight scenes? Am I the only one that really enjoyed those? Or you feel like the choreography was good?
I think the choreography works for me. I think a lot of the set pieces that they used really helped, like the museum where they go into the old excavated alleyway. I thought that worked really well as like an action set piece, so they could like dance off of each other's cars and stuff. And
yeah, that's great. The whole sequence in the end of the cryo lab is great with the giant pincers that come up.
Yeah, the finale.
Yeah, like
another factoid, that set was built by Ken Adams, who is most famous for building all of the crazy James Bond villain sets. And that that you can't unsee it. It looks like a James Bond set.
Yeah, you're right. Pretty funny.
Yeah, how about that?
That's pretty great. That's a good factoid. Even the car chase sequence.
Okay, now what?
Buckle up.
Huxley's driving. Huxley has to suddenly learn how to drive the car.
She's like, I've seen this on TV.
Yeah. Yeah. And Spartan jumps from the hood of the car onto the top of Phoenix's, Huxley's cop car, That scene is a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I think the action choreography in this movie is good. Real solid and consistent throughout.
There is some 90s fast editing that gets on my nerves, but that's just a stylistic thing. And I it's kind of baked into the cake. If you're watching an action movie from 1993, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I think of this era, I think of it as you mentioned Eraser, right? Like we're at the tail end, I think, of that 80s to 90s. This is what an action movie is kind of era. And for this movie to be as good as it is this late in the game is pretty remarkable. Like this is to me maybe the most memorable of these types of movies from this sort of latter stage of it. We think of movies like Predator and I think of movies like The Running Man.
Running Man, yeah.
As like peak. Commando's another one,
Total
right?
Recall.
Obviously like Die Hard, Total Recall, things like that.
Tango and Cash, man.
Oh yeah, Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash is good.
Yeah, that's a good one. So much of what happened at this stage is like we're veering into the forgettable, right?
I think it helps that this is kind of a satire of itself. I think that it allows you to enjoy it because it's kind of making fun of itself. It's not taking itself seriously. Whereas in the 80s, you could make a movie like this and take it dead seriously, and it would still be awesome. When you're in the 90s, you got to be a little self-referential. You got to get a little scream in there, to make it work. And I think this movie does that perfectly.
And the over-the-top nature with which Phoenix, and I don't want to get too far ahead of it, is dispatched at the end.
Yeah.
Like, that's no notes there.
In the very beginning, there's that line where he's like, I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached to me. And then he says, I'll remember that. And of course, that's
I'll remember that.
That's Chekhov's gun is what that is.
Yes. Chekhov's head.
Don't tease me with a detached head at the beginning if you don't plan to deliver on it. The funniest thing about that is his whole body freezes except his hair.
Oh yeah.
Like
stupid freaking hair.
Phoenix is completely, his clothes are frozen. Like everything's frozen. The whole environment freezes. But Phoenix's hair is not frozen.
There's another weird mirroring thing from the beginning of the movie. In the beginning of the movie, remember, Phoenix sets everything on fire to kill or to attack Spartan. And then in the end, Spartan sets everything on the floor into ice to defeat Phoenix.
Freezes him. Yeah.
It's poetry. That's poetry.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Guys, that's cinematic
Absolutely.
poetry.
Just so that they could use the "Is it cold in here?" line.
Is it cold in here? Or is it just me?
Absolutely, yes.
Or is it just me?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing, not a wasted frame in this movie, folks, is all I'm hearing.
Is it cold in here, or is it just me? Good memory.
Well, the very first frame of this movie kind of caught me off guard a little bit because it's LA and it's just burning.
Just burning to the ground. Well, I mean, this is
I was like, wait, am I looking at the news?
Yeah, I was
around
like,
the same time as the Rodney King riots.
Yeah, they made this movie like right after that, and they actually used a lot of footage from the LA riots to like to mimic in this movie. They didn't actually use the footage in the movie, but they made scenes to mimic the actual LA riots.
They're like on the phone with the studio. Yeah, gosh, I think we're going to need about an extra $3 million to film those scenes. And then he just looks at the news. Yeah, hang on. Let me get back to you.
I don't know. It hit me in the stomach a little bit because of what's going on in LA right now.
I know.
And I don't necessarily want to get into that, but my first thought was, oof.
That's fucked up.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Yeah.
Timely.
Same. I had the exact same reaction.
As futures go, I think there are movies we watch that take place, a few years in the future, and it's like, oh wow, this is kind of like the world we live in now, and there are parallels. I feel safe to say that there is no way we're getting to the 2032 of Demolition Man in the next 7 years.
No, I mean, that's the major failing of this movie and a lot of science fiction, honestly. I felt the same way about Free Jack when we were talking about that movie.
It's actually the exact same problem, too, because in the original script, or the original story, I mean, they set it much further into the future. It was like 200 years in the future. But then they wanted to add a subplot involving his daughter. And so they had to put it more recently. And then they cut out the subplot with his daughter.
They mentioned the daughter one time.
Yeah, I was going to say, they don't even show any family.
She was supposed to be one of the scraps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned the daughter once, and he's like, no, I don't want her to know I'm here.
And your brain immediately is like, wait, is Sandra Bullock his daughter? Because that's fucked up.
Right. Of course, that's what that's how you're hardwired. You're like, oh, shit, he's trying to smack on.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal
a better movie would have made Rob Schneider his daughter.
That's interesting, though, because the family element, I don't know why that's in that movie at all.
We never meet the wife. Doesn't matter at all. Does Spartan seem like a man
who
comes from somewhere?
A family, yeah.
Spartan is a force of nature. He's like a hurricane. He doesn't need an origin.
Yeah, you can't see this guy sitting on the couch at home. I understand that there's a good motivation and honestly, the visual of a wife banging on the ice, he talks about in the restaurant, I was awake in the cryo chamber and I could see my wife beating on the glass of the ice.
Even you must appreciate the persuasively tranquil humanity of the cryo prison system.
I don't want to spoil your dinner, pal, but my cryo sentence was no sweet lullaby. I had feelings and I had thoughts. How about a 36-year nightmare about people caught in a burning building?
You were awake? I don't think so.
I do think so. And my wife beating her fist against a block of ice that used to be her husband. Then you were nice enough to wake me up and let me know everything that meant something in my life is gone. It would have been more humane to stake me down and leave me to the fucking crows.
They let her in there? They shouldn't have let her in.
I think that's
not supposed to be
referring to nightmares that he was having, like that it didn't actually happen.
Maybe it was nightmares. Maybe it was nightmares, but it's a good image.
It is.
But outside of that, completely unnecessary. I mean, it almost works better if he's just a loner.
I agree.
So having the family in there, but not seeing them doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, to wit, like, I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, and the one element that always catches me off guard is the fact that he had a wife. Like, I forget that viewing to view, and I've seen it twice this year. And I always forget. Like, oh yeah, a daughter. That is weird. Like, because why would you even bring it up if you're not going to... And that makes sense that there was a subplot. But I mean, I'm still in the, like, okay, so again, why bring it up?
Yeah, I don't want that subplot.
Yeah, the subplot doesn't even seem to serve a purpose. His name is Spartan. Make him a Spartan.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And there's no time for that. Like, obviously, I mean, that's why they cut it out, right? But I mean, like, how would you even squeeze that in and still make it fulfilling in any respect?
Yeah, there's enough going on. You don't need...
Yeah, there's enough going on. And if I were going to spend any time on anything, it would be building up the history of these two. I mean, we see at the beginning the capture of Simon Phoenix, but they mention, that he's been chasing him for 2 years or something like that. Like, if there were some greater backstory that we were privy to, I think the only thing that really saves that is Wesley Snipes' performance. Like, why is he so dogged about getting this guy? It's because he's just insane.
He's he's an absolute maniac.
Send a maniac to catch a maniac.
That's the beauty of it. Like we see that opening sequence in 1996, and it gives us everything we need to know to understand the history of these two characters and why they hate each other so much. You know, I don't know where this started, but I understand why these two men hate each other.
Right.
Like, you are complete opposites.
Yeah.
Spartan, we understand who he is as a cop. He's going rogue for this first mission. Like, we meet him and he's going rogue and jumping out of a helicopter. Right. And immediately we recognize Simon Phoenix as an absolute crazy person. If you had never known Batman and the Joker, and you see a scene like this between Batman and the Joker, you come out of that scene, you're like, okay, I get it. I get what we're doing here. Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a Batman-Joker relationship. But yeah, like I said, Wesley Snipes just kind of sells the fact that, of course, you need somebody like John Spartan to come get him. And, the premise is really great.
Yeah.
It's a really good premise. But you're right. Getting back to the time frame that you guys were talking about, and it makes a lot of sense that they were trying to do something with the daughter, because 32 years, I kept bumping into that. Every time they mentioned it, it slowed down the story for me, and it stuck out like a sore thumb. Because the police captain himself would have been like 20 in the night. You know what I mean? Like, it's only 36 years, and he's got to be like 50 something. So
you had the one guy who seemed to have known Spartan.
I love the one dude.
Right.
The one guy, Lamb.
Yeah, apparently he's the same guy who was the helicopter pilot in the beginning of the movie. Like, that's supposed to be the same character. Yeah.
He says they grounded me. Oh, what? You're the best pilot. Like,
what? Shit, you were a damn good pilot.
But I love that character's there. We almost do nothing with him outside of that initial scene where he kind of shepherds Spartan into the future.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love that there's a connective thread there, and that's all that I need. Don't need a wife, don't need a kid, just need this one old guy on the force that Spartan knew when he was just a young kid, and now he's the elder statesman of the force.
Right.
I don't think it's worth it, though. I mean, that one scene, that one connection, I don't feel like it's worth it.
No, you're right. I mean, the movie should have been set further in the future. I mean, if you're going to have a dystopia like that, you've got to have a lot of time for that to develop. Generations have to pass for that to work.
Something I really like about this is, you've got these two just opposing forces established in the beginning, and then we get some lines of dialogue right before the cryo-freeze that talk about the intentions of the program to rehabilitate the people by sending them through this like subconscious array of training. And obviously, Phoenix's programming has been co-opted and commandeered by Cocteau, and he's kind of funneled all the vital information he needs into him to integrate into society and still be a maniac.
Right.
Like, all the stuff that he needs to know about the functionality of the world is kind of packed into his head. Spartan's missing all of that, but he does know how to knit.
Yeah.
Which is one of to me, the funniest jokes in the movie is like...
It's great. I love that he's watching that footage and he's like playing with the art without even really consciously knowing what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's such a great moment. But I don't want to call any of this movie subtle, but like the subtle thing there is that Phoenix now has such an advantage over Spartan environmentally in terms of the world that they're in. I don't think it ever really delivers on that, but for me it was kind of there throughout. I'm like when he takes over the car, for instance, like Spartan can't drive these modern cars, he can't figure it out, but Phoenix has no problem with it, right? Overriding the controls, getting it to do whatever he needs to do. There are a couple moments in the movie like that. I wish it had kind of played with it a little bit more, but the idea of Phoenix now being like twice as good as Spartan is...
And in every action scene, it starts with Snipes having the upper hand. He always starts with the upper hand. He's either like literally has the high ground, or he's got all the guns.
Yeah, that's right. Like he gets the drop on them in the sewers.
Yeah,
the armory, and I love when he's in the armory and he's like, "Wait, this is the future."
Wait a minute. This is the future. Where are all the phaser guns?
Fellow greetings, sir. What's your buckle?
Where are all the phasers? Or so.
Yeah, where are the phaser guns? Yeah, I like that too.
He makes a few different comments about science fiction and his expectations of a future based on like what he's seen or read.
You think that's a Wesley Snipes line?
Oh, I think Wesley Snipes is kind of a nerd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although his other most famous ad-libbed line in other movies was from Blade. Some motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill.
Yeah.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
I skate uphill.
I mean, you got to give it to him. It's stuck.
It's memorable, sure.
Yeah, I see what you mean, though, Brian. He could have used the environment to his advantage.
Yeah,
like when he killed that cop with the graffiti erasing technology.
Yeah,
you know, like if he had used something like that on Spartan, like something Spartan wasn't aware of that Simon Phoenix somehow knew, programmed into him.
Yeah, like most of the fights they have come down to like gunfights and fisticuffs.
Yeah.
And the only time we really get the sense that, Phoenix is way more equipped for this world than Spartan is during the car chase scene.
Yeah.
And this is one of those action movies where guns don't really work. They never like hit their targets, like ever.
That's true.
I think the only time is when Jesse Ventura shoots Cocteau. That's it.
And you see the holes in the back of the chair. That was pretty good, though. I felt pretty good about that death.
Yeah.
It's like, get it.
It was the right time to get him out of the plot.
Bastard.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love how easily outmaneuvered Cocteau is in this movie.
He's so naive.
He's not only programmed Phoenix to kind of be well equipped to achieve his mission in the future, which is to kill Friendly, but he's also got that sort of like mental block that won't allow him to kill Cocteau.
Yeah, RoboCop style.
Yeah, exactly. And then so Phoenix is like, okay, well, if I'm going to take down John Spartan and Friendly, I'm going to need a bunch of guys, you know?
Yeah.
So Cocteau's like, sure, take whoever you need. And so we've got this whole mob of thought out cryo criminals. And it's just a matter of tossing the gun to another one of the criminals. He's like, hey, shoot this motherfucker.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
And that's it. What a dumbass.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. Like, that's just stupid.
Your whole plan, and it fell apart that quick. I do love the idea of he's got this whole gang of like thought out cryo criminals. Unfortunately, it happens when there's like 15 minutes of the movie left.
Yeah, they don't do much with it, but yeah.
And they're all wearing their own special set of shoulder pads.
Made out of tires or something.
Hey, those things come...
Football shoulder pads.
You can find them very quickly. Obviously, did you see how quickly Benjamin Bratt changed into his costume?
That's another joke I really like. It's just Benjamin Bratt suddenly just like going native.
Yeah.
I think that's really funny.
Who does he compare him to? Pancho Villa, maybe?
Oh, yeah. I think he does say Pancho
Villa. And he's like, Pancho who? He's like, forget it.
Well, look at you. You get a bump on the noggin and you think you're Pancho Villa? Who? Never mind.
Can we talk about John Spartan for a second?
Oh, yeah, we should. We really should.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about his family and this idea that he's kind of motivated by a family we don't ever see. I think there are other elements of his personality that I prefer, to say the least. But
a man driven by justice doesn't need a family. That should have been the tagline for the movie. It would have been in a different movie where he didn't have a daughter.
Well, write that down and use it for a tagline in another movie.
I couldn't make a movie this good. It's one of those movies. Demolition Man's a movie I watch and I'm like, I should just hang it up. I can't
There's no way you can top this. Yeah.
His disposition in this movie is largely, I'm angry about being unthawed and in this world, and all these people bother me, right? That's basically his character at this point. They kind of drive at the idea that, you know, he feels like he's responsible for a bus full of tourists.
Because, he was thinking about that the entire time. And also that whole plot thread is just dismissed by a single line from Wesley Snipes in the middle of an action scene.
In the middle of the car
very
chase.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, like we got to remind the audience, oh, by the way, he's, you know, like he's not really responsible.
That thing you probably are already thinking is, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like there's enough motivation there that the character should have been rounded a little better. Maybe just kind of dragged down by this, believing that he deserved to be in there. Is he ever going to take responsibility for that, or feel like he should take responsibility for that?
Yeah, the answer's no.
He doesn't.
He knew that it wasn't him. He knew the whole time. Like,
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, because he was dreaming about a building full of
oh yeah, I guess you're right. He did feel a little bit responsible.
Yeah, and
for
his eyes got all big when he found out that there were dead bodies in the building. He was like, "What?" I feel like he believed that he was responsible for the deaths of these people, but then he also has the scene with the police chief where he's like,
Caveman, let's finish with all the Rip Van Winkle and get moving. Our Mr. Phoenix has risen from the ashes.
Uh-huh. I tracked that dirtbag for 2 years, and when I finally bring him down, you turn me into an ice cube for my trouble. Thanks, but no thanks.
The conditions of your parole are full reinstatement into the SAPD and immediate assignment to the apprehension of Simon Phoenix.
I took him in once and you put me in the cryo-freeze for my troubles, or whatever. It's like, no,
right.
You were in there because you killed 32 people by manslaughter.
And that's what I took, like that whole subplot. I felt like it was more about the false imprisonment than it was any sense of guilt.
It was a plot
that he had done
device,
something wrong, right?
Yeah.
Even for him, he's like, his eyes get wide, not because he's like, you mean I didn't kill a busload of people, but because, hey, fuck you, I was frozen for 38 years,
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Like, I felt like that was the bigger issue.
Yeah, they shouldn't have had that line in there about the dreaming about the building full of burning people. That would have, because John Spartan as a character, he doesn't develop like at all. Do you see him in the past and he's caused $20 million worth of property damage to save $30,000 or something, and he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care about the niceties of things. He's just interested in his mission and accomplishing his mission at all costs. I mean, he's like the exaggeration of the 80s trope of the cop who can cause all this property damage just to catch a guy,
Yeah, lethal weapon.
Yeah.
If you go to a foreign country, you can't just assume they're going to adjust because of you in America.
Right.
Spartan expects the world of 2032 to eventually just come around. His way of thinking. And by the
like, okay, you movie, and you, no, just kiss. You guys will figure it out.
And by the end of the movie, it sort of does.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the idea is like, okay, so Spartan doesn't have to change at all. The entire fucking world is going to change.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
That's the real magic of the Demolition Man. He will demolish an entire society if it means he can go back to using actual toilet paper.
Well, it's for everyone's benefit.
That's true. That's true.
Germs. Look, I don't know if you guys know it, but you're out of toilet paper.
Did you say toilet paper?
Oh, they used handfuls of wadded paper back in the 20s.
I'm happy that you're happy, but the place where you're supposed to have the toilet paper, you got this little shelf with 3 seashells on
it. He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells. I can see how that could be confusing.
I love the seashell thing. Do you know why the seashell thing is in there?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay, so because someone at some point in the development process was trying to come up with a clever idea to replace the toilet paper, and they were in a bathroom and they saw one of those jars of seashells.
Yeah, the jars of seashells.
You know, they're just there for like aesthetics. And they thought, that's weird, isn't it? Like, why do we have just shells in a bathroom? And then it clicked and they were like,
there we go.
Shells in a bathroom. It's like the ultimate mystery.
And that's like the one joke that I think most people remember from this movie. I think even people who haven't seen this movie know this joke.
That is absolutely true. I had a conversation with somebody today that hadn't seen it and knew the seashells. So, yeah.
I gotta ask my wife if she knows about the 3 seashells.
You know what you should do is not ask her. You should take all the toilet paper away and just put 3 seashells down. It means like 3 days go by and she's like, hey, I got a question for you, and it might sound a little crazy.
I mean, it makes for one of the best jokes in the movie with the verbal morality statute and all the tickets.
And the toilet, using his toilet paper. That is a really good gag.
Yeah. And it's a good gag throughout the whole movie. I love the fact that you can hear it in the background.
There could just be a random scene. They're just having a conversation, and you can just hear it in the background whenever anybody says anything bad.
Yeah, just even in the fight scene in the museum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you hear it go off while they're fighting and yelling at each other. That is fantastic.
Yeah. That is a great touch.
And it's got to be hard for the computer to know when you're saying a bad word when the guy who designed the system's name is Cocktoe. You know,
that's a very good point.
Okay, so I've had my taco. I'm gonna.
You still have more taco
now.
Bell.
Oh, you got a burrito in there.
I've got a burrito and a taco. I'm gonna try the burrito now. Taco was okay. I mean, do people just love Taco Bell? I mean, people love Taco Bell, don't they?
Well, in our day, back in the 90s, when we would eat Taco Bell, it was just because it was super duper cheap. 39-cent tacos on Tuesday, you know? Nowadays, it's not like that, but it used to be.
It's not any cheaper. It's just worse.
Yeah, now they kind of ran out of steam. The Taco Bell's thing for a long time was how many different ways can we combine 5 things?
Right. And now they're like throwing avocado ranch in there and shit.
Now they're doing all.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
I don't know, chicken nuggets like we were talking about earlier, but the chicken nuggets are pretty good.
They're actually good. Yeah, it's weird.
That's funny too. Like the franchise war thing is just like a throwaway gag. The Taco Bell thing is just sort of incidental, but it's a really great kind of funny thing when the plate comes out and you see like, oh, it's like a fine dining establishment with these just like minuscule items. It's more about the display than it is, fulfilling any appetite, which runs so counter to Taco Bell's mission statement.
So much.
Taco Bell was at one point so concerned about filling your gut with beef that they invented a thing called fourth meal. Like we're all fucking hobbits for Taco Bell.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Yeah, it was made for those scrap people.
I think most concern came in having product placement. I mean, this is the most prevalent product placement I've ever seen in a movie ever. But it works.
They wanted Burger King, and Burger King said no. And then they asked McDonald's, and McDonald's said no. And Taco Bell was like, fuck yeah.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
They actually wanted to change their logo already, and they used this movie as an excuse. They debuted their new logo with this movie. Like the logo you see in this movie was the logo they used in the 90s, which I think is really funny.
That's pretty amazing. That's a good way to get some cheap ad work done.
Yeah.
Like a Hollywood art department is going to work on it.
Fuck yeah.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Take advantage of that.
Pretty good deal.
I mean,
that's how they kept those tacos so cheap for so long.
I think
they should put on the menu that little tiny fucking burritos that they gave. So they should put that on the menu and charge like $30 for it.
To get like the Demolition Man meal.
Yeah.
I just remember going there in 1999 for like a solid 5 months, and every time I get a value meal, the cup had Sebulba on it.
I think it definitely works as product placement because I think most people just take it as the joke,
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to do product placement.
It doesn't really get in the way. It's funny.
It's so much funnier that it's Taco Bell than Burger King or McDonald's. Like those ones, okay. McDonald's makes sense.
Yeah, we know
Taco
McDonald's
Bell,
is
it's like,
win.
how in the fuck did this happen?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
That's the joke. I love it.
Well, and like outside of jokes, this world is so fully realized. I mean,
for this weird satirical thing, it's amazing how much effort they put into building this world. It does feel like a fully developed dystopia, and like somebody put a lot of work into that for just a lot of jokes, which I think is great.
There's that booth at the beginning that Phoenix throws the guy out of, but it's just like a daily affirmation booth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy doesn't feel good about himself, so the computer has to cheer him up.
It's like the opposite of the suicide booth from the last
opposite
movie.
of the Futurama suicide booth. I was just saying.
You inspire joy feelings in all the people around you.
I don't know. Lately, I just don't feel like there's anything special about me.
You are an incredibly sensitive man who inspires joy feelings in all those around you.
Get out of here. Excuse me, citizen. I'm sorry.
Greetings, citizen. How are you feeling on this glorious day? You look great today.
Yeah, well, I feel good too.
That's some Severance shit.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Yeah, I love this world. Not necessarily to live in it, but I love the fact that they've fully developed this world. Like, you can see it existing. You seem to understand the rules of the society. You know what I mean? It's not just thrown together sci-fi elements. Like, it seems like somebody actually took the time to think, what does this world look like? How does it function? I mean, all of the designs in the cars, uniformed in a way that says this came together naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the clothing, that's very Japanese inspired. And
there's a lot of Japanese
like
inspired
kimonos
things.
and stuff.
And even the doors in the hotel or whatever, apartment building.
What does Phoenix say about the world?
The year is 2032. That's 2032, as in the 21st century. And I am sorry to say that the world has become a pussy-whipped Brady Bunch version of itself. Run by a bunch of robed sissies.
Bunch of robed sissies.
Yeah,
pretty good. Pretty good.
And I like
stuff.
that there's enough little sprinkles of backstory that you can kind of put it together. Like, there was a giant earthquake in 2010 that ruined everything, and this is kind of like built up out of the ashes, and they combined San Diego and Los Angeles and all that, you know.
Yeah, and the things that you don't know, or the things that they don't say, you can kind of fill in yourself. Like, you can...
Exactly.
It's solid enough that you can see how something like this would develop. Just the notion that everything that's bad for you has been outlawed and is now illegal.
What do they mention? Caffeine, alcohol, meat,
salt,
absolutely everything.
Yeah, the fucking salt.
Jesus
Christ.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
No, this is the world Nancy Pelosi wants. Yeah, you can kind of see how all of this came to be.
I mean, there aren't a lot of sci-fi movies I can think of that do as good a job setting up a world that is familiar enough that you could actually see it developing. Now, like, I don't believe that it would actually go that way necessarily, and certainly not in 32 years. That's a bit sticking point. It's a big sticking point.
But it works for this movie. Like, you buy it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is already a little cartoonish, so like your ability to suspend disbelief goes a long way in a movie like this. So,
and the characters, again, like, I think that a lot of the performances in the movie really do help sell that reality.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra Bullock is really, really amazingly good. And this is this sort of wide-eyed, excited, naive cop. Right.
Yeah, and the bridge between the two societies.
Yeah.
Such reckless abandonment. Looks like there's a new shepherd in town.
That sheriff. Who are those guys?
They're known as scraps.
You are even better live than on Laserdisc. And the joy way you pause to make a glib witticism before doing battle with that strangely weapon scrap in those roundhouse.
Posse, look, this isn't the Wild West, okay? The Wild West wasn't even the Wild West. Hurting people's not a good thing. Well, sometimes it is, but not when it's a bunch of people looking for something to eat.
She's like a collect. She's
got all the memorabilia in her office and at her home. Yeah.
And Benjamin Bratt calls it contraband.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, her office is full of contraband because she's got snakes in a can or
oh yeah.
You know? It's got that lethal weapon poster because, you know,
yeah. Right. Benjamin Bratt's really good in this too. The two of them more than anybody else, maybe.
Because both of them have that look of just like innocent naivete. Like they sell that so well. Yeah.
I think that Rob Schneider is good in this too.
He is.
For as much as he's in it.
I don't think he overstays his welcome. I think he has a couple of lines. He does the 3 seashells laughing line, which I think is probably his best moment.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
And he does the high five with Benjamin Bratt.
Right.
Where they don't actually touch each other.
It's not like in Judge Dredd where he takes over the movie and it's painful and hurts my brain. So, yeah, I think he's good in this one. Yeah. Because he's not overused.
Yeah, I actually like Rob Schneider when he was like young, a clean cut version.
Tommy! The Tom Man making copies. The Tomster, Tomaruski. The Tom Meister.
As he got older and developed as a comedian, it was like, look, I'm gross, and that's funny.
Yeah, right.
Look at me rub my nipple. Whatever. But early on, the clean cut guy, the announcer in Necessary Roughness.
Oh, yeah.
I like him in that. And as long as we're talking about him, I actually jotted down his line because it was really funny.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the emergency line of the San Angeles Police Department. If you prefer an automated response, press 1 now.
Be well, Lieutenant.
If you would prefer an automated response, please press 1.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
That is good.
Like, you're already talking to a person, but it also kind of speaks to the world. They might rather just interact with a computer.
I kind of want that.
Yeah.
Oh, not me. God.
I make a lot of calls to potential clients at my job, and I had somebody 2 months ago that stopped me after a minute and was like, am I talking to an AI? Me?
No, of course not.
No, let me tell you a joke. I can prove it. The lines are blurred, though, so I could believe that by 2032 that it's like, okay, well, you could have Rob Schneider or a recording.
I wrote the line down because I thought it was really funny, but if I'm like actually sitting here thinking about it, it's actually really good to the world building.
That's the thing about this movie. They're all jokes, but they're good. They're believable parts of the world. And yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you extrapolate that to they won't high five, like we said, all the way to the point of like sexual intercourse is done on a computer where you don't actually touch a person. Their whole inclination is to interact with a machine before a person. And it works on another level. Like when I heard the joke, I just thought it was funny. But like if you sit down and actually think about it, it's really connected to the world that they've laid out. And somebody really thought about that.
Yeah, it's very consistent. It's very good. Nothing is arbitrary here. It's like it feels like a very well thought out.
And I really like the cars in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
here's some fun info about the cars. Most of the cars in this movie.
What are you just trying to show off for the Unapologetic?
No, I'm not.
I appreciate it.
Never have factoids.
I was interested in the cars too, Nate. And the thing that got me was when the car chase starts, where there's like this brief moment inside an Oldsmobile dealership. And the sign on the wall says, "Believe in the future, Oldsmobile." And then that elevator comes up with that old ass Oldsmobile in it, right?
Right.
They take off in it, the 1971. And then I started thinking about the cars in them. And what I learned was that the cars in the movie were General Motors concept cars from the 70s and 80s. And the reason they all look streamlined, they were actual concept cars, like a fleet of concept cars that they used for the movie.
That's cool.
Wow.
Isn't it neat? So it's like this was like one of those vision of the future kind of cars, but they were like legitimately designed and manufactured in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, that's cool. That's really neat.
Got a factoid I didn't know.
Well, you can use it in your video.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
Yeah, just make sure you give us credit. Or
why would I do that?
If you find out that Brian's full of shit, you can say that.
Yeah, that's good too. Vet the information. Yeah, do you know those cars? My uncle made them.
I do think it's I guess ironic is the right word that the last movie we did, which was about a race car driver in the future, had terrible futuristic cars. And this movie has great futuristic cars.
Yeah.
And a much better car chase.
Are these the best future cars that we've seen?
That we've seen, like on the podcast?
On the podcast, like that we've seen
Certainly
of everything we
on
talked
the
about. Because I really loved the future cars in Looper that were just like normal cars with a bunch of shit tacked to them. Like they just had their same old cars, but they kept upgrading them.
Yeah, that was good world building also.
That was a nice little subtle world building thing. But like The worst, the most egregious offender was Time Cop.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's like one futuristic car and everything else is like normal. And the futuristic car isn't even like cool. It's like they put a bunch of plywood over it and glued shit to it.
Yeah, that's bad.
This one, the uniformity of it is really nice.
One of those scenes, the background car is a relatively recent car. So it's a good mixture of things that you might remember, along with new designs of things obviously inspired by things that you recognize. It just seems like such a natural progression of vehicle.
If you look really carefully, there's that one scene where Stallone gets in the car and he looks at the panel and all the crazy shit that's on the dash. And if you look at it, you'll see that it's a bunch of stuff put on top of really normal looking stuff. Like you look at the air conditioning and it looks like something you'd see in a car like in the 80s.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot of new stuff built on top of old stuff like that, like you're talking about.
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, if I had to compare it to something, I guess Minority Report is good about that.
Yeah.
iRobot was good about that.
Love those spherical tires.
Yeah, spherical tires that could go laterally. Yeah. I almost wonder if the sci-fi world building is squandered a little bit by the fact that it's just an action movie.
I don't think so, because I do think that like at its heart there is like a satire here that is trying to do something interesting. And yeah, it's mostly just an entertaining action movie, but I feel like there's some heart there that makes it worth it.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments in the whole thing comes near the end, right before Jesse Ventura blows Cocteau away.
San Angeles will be a beacon of order, with the purity of an ant colony, and the beauty of a flawless pearl.
Look, you can't take away people's right to be assholes.
That's who you remind me of. An evil Mr. Rogers.
Will you please kill him?
It's pissing me off.
You might be right.
Make me my Phoenix was right t-shirts.
I think that's the Edgar friendly.
And you're getting Dennis Leary to play the guy who that's like his whole ethos. I mean, that is Dennis Leary.
God, that was so...
That's not even a character. That's Dennis Leary.
No, and you wait a few, there's a few scenes and you're like, oh, Dennis Leary, there's Dennis Leary. When is he going to Dennis Leary? And then he Dennis Leary's.
He does full 90s MTV rant. Yeah.
He Dennis Leary's so fucking hard in that one scene. And Sylvester Stallone's just there like blinking.
Yeah, it's just Dennis Leary.
For like a solid minute.
I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green Jell-O all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Yeah, he's just doing his act.
It's like, oh, that's why we got Dennis Leary. Okay, all right, there he is.
I think that Cocteau is giving off some real Emperor Palpatine vibes.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, or like a more approachable Palpatine.
Yeah.
Naboo's Senator Palpatine.
Yeah, Senator Palpatine would be
seemed like a nice guy, nice enough dude.
On the audio commentary, when they were talking about casting, and they were talking about trying to cast Cocteau, they said, well, what we really knew we wanted was an old British guy, because that would be perfect. Okay. And somebody saw, what was that movie? The Madness of King George or something.
Oh,
and they were like, let's get that guy. He was totally down with it. He apparently didn't even understand the movie in the slightest. He was like, okay.
They never do.
They never
British
do.
guys never know what they're doing there. There's that story about the Return of the Jedi when
Alec Guinness.
When Ian McDiarmid and Sebastian Shaw, who played the old version of Darth Vader,
right,
like after he's unmasked, they walk past each other on the set. And of course, Sebastian Shaw was only there for like a day. And Ian McDiarmid's like, oh, Sebastian, what are you doing here? And he's like, I don't know, something to do with science fiction, I think, you know? And that's it. The old British guys never know what they're doing there. It's so funny. Like he doesn't even know what Star Wars is. It's Return
and yeah,
of the
Alec
Jedi.
Guinness, like you were saying, Alec Guinness, when he was in the first Star Wars, he had no idea what was going on, and he thought it was just a crappy movie that was going to flop. He was just getting a paycheck, you know.
Yeah.
I'm almost finished with my burrito, you guys.
You eat Taco Bell slower than any human being I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I'm trying to podcast at the same time.
I was told there would be food in your mouth the whole time.
It's been there. It's been there. Wait until you hear the recording.
Do you store it in your cheeks like a chipmunk?
Just wait until you hear the recording.
I do that sometimes with Taco Bell. Like I'll eat it around lunchtime and then like I'll keep a little pocket in my cheek for like about 3 p.m.
Chili cheese burrito.
Good stuff.
One of the other things I wrote down is that I know that we need to get straight to our story, but in the transition from 1996 in the past, they don't take any time to do any trial. He's just like convicted on the word of Simon Phoenix.
Yeah, they're clearly like cutting really, really, really fast. They're trying to do the James Bond thing where they have an action scene and then
trying to get to their story pretty quick.
The sentencing is the main credits.
Yeah. Well, the main credits is actually him being frozen.
Yeah.
And going over that like nude cast model of Sylvester Stallone, which is now hanging over Planet Hollywood, which is creepy and weird.
That's right. That's right.
There's a YouTube channel that I really enjoy. You know, my second favorite after the Unapologetic Geek is probably Letter Media. And they buy movie props all the time. And they bought a copy of nude Sylvester Stallone from this movie. And they just have it in their studio for some reason.
I'm so excited to unbox this. I can't even make jokes.
Oh my God.
Oh no, is that his ass?
Look, there's a little privacy thing.
A modesty patch?
Modesty patch.
Oh, it's a life-size naked Sylvester Stallone from the movie Demolition Man.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was like a plaster mold of a person in that. You know, I figured it was just kind of him posing behind some glass or something. But yeah, they've got a copy in their studio. And he's looking pretty buff. It looks pretty good.
Oh, man, it looks great. He looks really great. And, you know, the shot when he comes out from behind that kiosk or whatever in the cryo lab and he fires the two guns, that classic action hero pose.
Yeah.
I'm like, Stallone arguably has never looked this good. Because when he, like in Demolition Man, John Spartan is a chiseled piece of man.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking when he gets unfrozen and he's kind of laying there naked. Just looked at his legs and ribs. I'm just like, this dude is cut. Like, I can't imagine being in that kind of shape.
It's another area where I see this movie and I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to be this good at anything. I'll never be able to make a movie like this and I'll never be able to look like that.
I was going to say, yeah, and you probably couldn't pull off the overalls that Wesley Snipes is wearing.
Oh, I wish, but I could not.
He's got like that orange tank top under a set of overalls. Because
what a wild wardrobe. I mean, it was the 90s.
It was the 90s. That stuff was cool for a while.
So the funny thing about the intro of this, the 1996 thing, is that when you're sitting in a theater in 1993 watching this, that's still the future.
True.
Right? Like 1996 is the future. Like the movie wants to space this out 3 years just to create some sort of plausibility for the outcome of Los Angeles being a smoldering heap of ash.
I don't think they needed to sell that. I think people in 93 could have totally bought that.
I mean, yeah there was nothing. I mean,
I just feel like it's a better rule of thumb to just not lay out dates. Just don't.
As a general rule,
dates. Yeah. Just don't give dates. Because then you don't have to live up to anything.
You ever watch Max Headroom?
A long ass time
I'm
ago.
familiar with Max Headroom.
Every episode of Max Headroom started the same way, and it was like 15 minutes into the future or something like that was what it said on the screen. 15 minutes into the future. And I'm like, that's the best way to do this. It's like we're on the cusp, but we're never there, right?
Yeah.
That's how you set something.
Well, it goes back to what we've already covered, but I really think that my biggest hang up with this movie is the fact that they did it in 32 years. And before I knew about the daughter subplot, it seemed like the only reason was so that he could have that one scene with the older guy.
Yeah.
What other reason could you possibly have? But they can't get away with calling him a caveman. That was only 30 years ago.
Yeah. A lot of these people were alive then.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of them probably. Except for Sandra Bullock. I wonder how old she was. How old was Sandra Bullock in this movie?
Oh, she was not old.
That's
What, 27?
This was her first action movie.
This was her first big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's what we decided, yeah.
Because it predates Speed by a year, and then The Net came after that, right?
Oh, yeah. I got to cover that movie, too.
The Net, yeah.
The Net.
There's a movie I have not seen since the theater in 1990.
Me either.
That's okay.
Oh, there was another Free Jack connection. The younger version of the helicopter pilot is the same guy from Free Jack who had the samurai sword and was saying, "Make my grandmother proud." Same actor.
Oh, shit, was it?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Oh, how about that?
We should have really put him in a lot more of this movie.
Yeah.
Hey, weren't you in Free Jack? Said no one.
Speaking of Free Jack, since I have you on, Tug, when I went and saw Mission Impossible, saw the trailer for F1. Have you guys seen the trailer for
I
this?
have not seen the trailer for F1.
I've seen that.
Oh man, I can't wait for this movie. When it first came out, I was like, "Oh, Free Jack 2." But it's F1 as in like Formula 1. It's about Formula 1 racers. Brad Pitt plays the old washed up racer shepherding the new hotshot driver or whatever. And you've seen that movie a million times, but they're always good.
Most recently, Top Gun Maverick, which is same director.
Ah, okay, cool. Very cool.
So I am
I'll
in.
go see it with my stepfather who used to be an F1 driver. So yeah.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should have had him on for Free Jack.
Yeah, give it his thoughts on the opening scene.
Talk to him about the opening scene and then just have him sit there for the duration of the conversation. Like 2 hours of all this other stuff.
Yeah, when he
hadn't actually seen the whole movie, just the opening scene, didn't let him watch the rest of it.
He tries to pipe in on something else. He's like, no. You've had your time.
Right. I'm sorry.
You're not my real dad. Shut up.
What else? Anybody got anything else before we move on?
Let me double check my notes. Just make sure I'm not missing anything.
I mean, I could just go on and on about the lines in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good ones.
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
Yeah, that's a good line too.
Oh, Sandra Bullock's character Huxley was originally going to be Lori Petty.
Oh, wow.
But apparently she and the director got into a fight after filming just one scene, and it was the sex scene.
What do you want? I mean, what do you want? Why do you keep hanging around here? Give me a break. Is this going to take a really long time?
Wait.
Oh, so she actually did some...
She got cast and they started filming before they replaced her with Sandra Bullock.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Is this before or after Point Break?
This was probably after Point Break. I don't know. It's a good question.
Before Tank Girl.
Oh, yeah,
Tank Girl.
I like Tank Girl, but it's a terrible movie.
Yes.
I don't remember Tank Girl well enough to say whether I liked it or not.
If it weren't for Lori Petty having a blast and Malcolm McDowell being Malcolm McDowell, like that movie would be unwatchable.
Okay.
But that's again.
I'll take your word for it.
What makes this movie so great? There's a lot of elements, like we talked about the world building, we've talked about the action choreography, all of that. All of it works really, really well. But I swear to God, if Wesley Snipes is not in this movie, I don't know if it holds up. I don't know if it becomes Demolition Man. You know?
I agree with that. I think because it seems
like
Wesley
Snipes steals the movie. Yeah,
he does, because I think Sylvester Stallone is kind of handcuffed. It seems like he handcuffed himself and did this really like one note kind of character.
He's got a lot of great lines too. I think Spartan's a fun character, but
at this point in his career, Stallone was very like disillusioned with doing action movies. He didn't want to do action movies. He had just done like a couple of comedies. He did Stop or My Mom Will Shoot and Oscar, and both of them flopped.
I can kind of see that.
He's disillusioned with doing the action hero thing, and they told him it was basically a comedy, and that's why he agreed to do it, even though he's basically the straight man in the movie. Yeah. But you can tell his heart's not completely in the action.
But it kind of sells the character a little bit.
It does. Yeah,
you know?
It works. Yeah. Especially against Wesley Snipes being like a jackrabbit jumping off all the walls and shit, you know?
One of my favorite moments with Snipes is when he first enters the museum. And this is just what a dirtbag, what a crazy unhinged wacko he is. he goes to one of the little terminals and he sits there and he looks up and this like group of like Asian people walk past. And he
the fuck was that?
He laughs at him.
Casual racism.
He's like, and it's like, there's no, that was uncalled for. Nobody needs that.
So one of your favorite parts in the movie was the racism.
The racism is one of my favorite parts. No, as far as just understanding who he is.
I thought maybe you'd mean the guy that he shoved that guy's head into the glass as soon as he walked in the room.
Oh, I love
He's
that
like,
too.
how much do you weigh?
Slumps over. Whoops.
Oh yeah, and then what's your boggle? I'm sorry, sir. What happens to be your boggle? What's my boggle?
He's just such an asshole.
You are
Like, he's such an asshole the whole time, which is why it's his main political platform. At the end, it's like, you can't take away people's rights to be an asshole. He's a one-issue voter.
You know what could be really fun in this movie also? An opportunity I don't think they took is like when they were in the violence wing and looking at all the guns, they had all of those old guns, like going back to the Old West and all that stuff. It could have been a lot of fun to like play with some of these revolvers and rapid rifles and stuff, like some of these older guns. It could have been a lot of fun seeing like in the future them using these old timey guns.
I think it would have been fitting for the power dynamic they were trying to set up if like John Spartan was using like the older style guns, like using a 6-shooter revolver or Magnum, while Wesley Snipes has the super gun that takes 2 minutes to charge.
Consistently upgrading.
Yeah.
Laser he has at the end.
That was used to cut the ice.
Yeah. He's using that laser drill or whatever.
And then he like busts the lens on it and it just turns into like crazy sparks everywhere. Yeah. Oh, one other factoid. I do have one more factoid on my list.
Okay.
Wesley Snipes' hair. It actually inspired Dennis Rodman.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around.
See, I thought, and this is just like my 90s brain mixing things up. I was like, oh, surely this was a response to Rodman.
Nope, Rodman got it from this movie.
I hate respecting Dennis Rodman so much.
It's not right, is it? No.
I hate that I have so much respect for that guy. Rodman made a movie a few years later. Do you remember what that was called?
Double Team?
Simon Says. It was
Simon Says.
Yeah.
Not Double Team.
He made Double Team. Yeah, Double Team was another.
Based off the original script, Simon Says. The original script that became Die Hard with a Vengeance. Just so you know.
Oh.
This is what it's like in my brain.
I knew I shouldn't have had mezcal to drink tonight.
Okay, so I don't want to bring the mood down or get too serious with politics, but I do wonder, since we've talked so much about how well the world is built, I'm thinking about the world and I'm looking at the things that in the current political climate, people on the far right would hate the fact that red meat has been outlawed. And on the left, things in this world that they would find constricting,
abortion has been outlawed.
Well, it's all authoritarianism.
Yeah.
Like it's authoritarianism. It's not left versus right. It's
I'm just
too much control versus not enough control.
It's Cocteau.
So I'm just wondering, like, as polarized as we are right now, how do you get to this world?
Well, right now, I don't really see it.
Seems like both sides would have issue with where this went.
I think in 93, it made a lot more sense. Like you could see this becoming the future from 93, like this political climate where it just becomes crazy authoritarian on both sides. But today, I don't think that would happen. There's way too much resistance from the other side for that to happen. It would go to one extreme or the other. You wouldn't have something in the middle like this.
I think there are elements of this movie that could seep into a future projected outwards from where we're at right now. But let's face it, Taco Bell's not winning any franchise wars, guys.
I think it would be the left that is trying to protect society from itself too much. Outlawing this because it's unhealthy. Like, why can't I have a 20-ounce soda that has 3 times as much sugar? You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Hey, but on the same token, which side is likely to be more upset about the caffeine?
It's just that legislating morality thing. Both sides want to do it. It's just a matter of what they want to outlaw, not really that they want to outlaw it. you know?
Yeah, this is more like just general authoritarianism.
Yeah.
Like one
That's how I
guy
see it.
decided what was going to be good for everybody and what wasn't, and we're just doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
It wasn't for profiteering either, right? Wasn't he like a businessman, wasn't he? Or
I'm not sure they said,
I
really.
thought he was a scientist.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But a scientist like Norman Osborn, where he's also like running a company.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yeah, he's some kind of like scientist entrepreneur. He built the cryo prison. Like, I had to watch the movie a couple times before I picked up on that.
Yeah.
Because it's only in like one line or something.
They refer to it as like Cocteau's cryo prison or something like that at some point.
Right, and he's the one that argued that he certainly couldn't have been awake during those 30 some odd years.
Yeah, that was a great moment too.
It was.
Over the dinner.
The dinner was good, yeah.
So what I'm hearing, Nate, remember like a couple months ago where our president made an announcement that he wanted to reopen Alcatraz and a bunch of people reversed engineered his TV watching to determine he had seen the film Escape from Alcatraz less than 12 hours before he made that announcement.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I didn't even know that.
What I'm hearing is that we should under no circumstances show this movie to the president.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The only thing I'd want to take from that universe is the captain's glasses. He's got some cool glasses.
Good.
Those are good-looking glasses.
Eyewear.
Yeah, I would definitely wear those.
And I like that he shaved his head. I don't know.
Yeah.
He just
those hair I could do without.
It sets him apart. Like, it makes him look unique compared to everybody else. Those glasses and the shaved head just works. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what I was also surprised by, though, speaking of the captain, is that there's no point in the movie where Spartan punches him in the face. And there's a couple moments where it's like, oh, he's going to hit him, right? He's going to hit him. And then
he doesn't feel the need to. He just says, shut up or something. I don't even remember what he says. He says,
yeah, but kind of going back to what you were saying a second ago, Eric, is like, if Stallone was veering more towards the comedic outlet and less towards the action outlet, it makes sense that these things are kind of
toned down. Yeah.
It's toned down a bit. Yeah. I think it all works better.
I do too.
The movie's
honestly.
Advantage. Like, I guess this is just like a perfect storm. It caught Stallone at the right time in his career. Certainly caught Snipes on the right day.
Before his downward spiral. Yeah.
And Bullock, like, I mean, for this to be her first big movie, I mean, you leave the theater thinking about her.
Yeah.
Makes a great impression in this movie.
She definitely sells the world. And like, again, the 30-year thing really kind of sticks in my craw here, but it's so much fun to think that there are radio stations with commercial jingles. And they're just taking music.
I forgot about
like, the
that.
only thing that I would kind of add to that is like, what if they didn't know they were commercials? And that
they just thought this was the music of the 20th century.
They were hits.
Yeah, if it really was 200 years in the future and they were just like, oh, we didn't realize they were trying to sell us things. It's just jingles. It's just music from the past or whatever. But I really enjoy that scene. And then to just add live music that's the jingles.
Right, the Taco Bell, yeah.
It's just like taking that joke to the next level that just really works.
There's even the scene where they first go down into the sewers, where Huxley, Garcia, and Spartan go down into the sewers, and Garcia's a little bit nervous, so he starts singing a song about something called kennel rations.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, it's a jingle that doesn't even exist yet for like a dog food.
If you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
Eric, is this a time travel movie?
I mean, yeah, I count it as a time travel movie. It's light time travel, because it's just the Rip Van Winkle thing, just going a little bit into the future,
My rationale, my argument in favor of this as a time travel movie that I made in our previous episode was that if a certain percentage of the film is based around a character from the past trying to navigate and fit into a future society, it is a time travel.
And this movie definitely does that way better than Free Jack did.
Oh yeah, like he almost doesn't care.
True.
So I think he's just too dumb to really understand what. But Spartan's constantly trying to engage with this new society, and he eventually was just like, "Oh, I don't give a shit," But yes. time travel, it's a one-way trip, obviously.
One of my thoughts was, what's to stop people from using this cryo prison technology just because?
Do you think there's like the 1%ers out there that are just using it to preserve themselves? And
I wonder.
And unthaw?
There would have to be. There would have to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could just use it to hang out if you want to see the future or something. You know what I mean? Like,
you could even freeze yourself for like a month and just learn that you could learn how to knit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's used for rehabilitation of criminals here, which I really wanted to see a payoff for the Jeffrey Dahmer thing.
Okay, what do we have left that's good, huh? Oh, let's see. Wilkes, Patrick. Jeffrey Dahmer? I love that guy. Look, we got to get him. How long before the rest are done?
They're in the final stages.
You guys remember that line?
Oh, yeah.
He's like in there.
Jeffrey Dahmer, I love that guy.
Yeah.
That's probably an ad-libbed line.
Yeah, probably.
But if you're going to reprogram somebody while they're in cryo-freeze, it's funny that they didn't take away the Demolition Man's penchant for destroying things.
Yeah, they didn't take anything away. They just made him knit.
Yeah, it just allowed him to knit and sew. But he still likes blowing things up and shooting and killing.
And the other guys that thaw out later, the gang,
Yeah.
they don't seem to have been rehabilitated at all.
What if they all had like cool skills though? Like had like one of those falconer gloves on and just
Or just one had a whole stack of like watercolors behind him or something. You know?
One of them, you see them out there just like watering a flower garden, or cutting a bonsai tree. Like that would have been fun.
But the technique of this time travel is very cool. Like we're in terms of cryogenics, this is, I think, the coolest looking cryogenics I've ever seen in a movie.
The lab is cool. The idea of being able to reprogram or program new things. It's kind of like the Matrix, right? Where it's like you just plug in. Yeah. Oh, now you know how to fly an Apache helicopter. That sort of thing is neat too.
I know Kung Fu. Show me.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that they basically drown you in this goop and then they instantly freeze it with the little green ball or whatever. I think it just looks really neat. Whereas usually in a cryogenic movie, they stick you in a tube and there's a bunch of dry ice everywhere and then they close it. And
the front gets frosty and your eyes are closed.
Right.
That's it. We've done
Fallout style.
And I think the fact that once the process is finished and the big claw comes down and picks up your ice cube, it's like you can just imagine those just being stacked in some warehouse somewhere, just a bunch of people frozen in these circular, like cylindrical ice cubes.
I think that's cool.
It is cool. It is cool. It's a cool idea.
I love at the end, though, when they're in the middle of the thawing process for so many of them, they're just laying around there on the floor. They're like it's not even in anything anymore. It's just sitting there.
It takes them a minute to come back to their faculties after you've been thawed out. Yeah, but when you take it to our list...
Oh, it's not going to... Okay. So, Eric, the list currently, there is a midpoint.
Well, I'm sure Eric has listened to every one of our episodes.
Sure.
And knows exactly
yes, of course.
Where we are in our rankings.
Last season, we had the clock that went backward, which was kind of this dividing line between the ones we considered good and the ones we considered
Your clock does not go. Does it ever go?
Weaker.
Right.
And this year, for whatever reason, this device from a 60s Space Ghost cartoon is now the bulwark.
I can't say that I've seen that one.
What do you mean for what reason? Don't get embarrassed because Doug is here.
The time regressor, which is just basically...
You like the time regressor.
The radar core is connected to the lasertron.
And the lasertron is connected to the thingamajig.
It's basically a Star Trek transporter that will call you back. Like, all you have to do is set the little dial to say, I want to come back in 30 minutes or whatever, and then you get to go wherever you want, and it'll pull you back.
If you remember to set the recall. If you don't remember to set the recall, bad things happen.
Oh.
Yeah, Space Ghost has to come save you. But yeah, I mean, that's the quintessential time machine. It's giving you everything you want in a time machine.
But we agree that this is going to fall below the time regressor.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, my only reference point is Free Jack, and I think the time travel in Free Jack was better than this. Like, yes, the device in Free Jack was better.
Oh man, the Free Jack.
Free Jack is sitting at
Free Jack
number
is
2,
way the
right?
fuck up on our list. It's like number 2 on our list.
Free Jack is cool.
It is cool. I'm glad you think so, because it is a cool time machine. So moving downward from the time regressor, we've got Kenneth's boat from Safety Not Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
The ham radio / Aurora Borealis effect from Frequency.
Okay, neat concept, but there's not really much of a device there. It's just for radio frequencies from sunspots.
And then we've got Go Somewhere Dark and Clench Fists from About Time.
Haven't seen that one, so couldn't tell you.
Okay. The EMDR tappers from The Simpsons, The Past, and the Furious. And then we've got the drug-induced time slipping from My Old Ass. The Time Cop rail car specifically from the Time Cop comic book.
The comic book, yeah.
Then the time portal from the movie Millennium. Which is way down on the list.
I don't know why that's so low.
I think as we're going over this, Brian, we should just take a second and realize the fact that on this podcast, we have covered Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-5, The Simpsons, and Demolition Man.
In one season. And Beavis and Butthead as well.
Beavis and Butthead. Man, just based solely on the production design that we talked about and the set piece that the final fight happens in with the big claw machine and the frozen ice cubes that we were talking about. I think this is better than the ham radio.
I think I agree.
I mean,
that's pretty high on the list. That's way up there. I don't necessarily disagree. I think it's better than the ham radio.
It's definitely cool, but I guess it depends on the metric you've decided to weigh this on, because I think I'd rather talk to my son on a ham radio than I would be frozen for 40 years. So if it's like, which one do I want to use?
You know what you could do while you're frozen for 30 years? Watch Daredevil Born Again and the new season of Poker Face.
So like just somebody holding at the screen in front of me while I'm frozen.
Just program it in there. I want nothing but good memories.
I guess it depends on the metric. Like if we're talking about what's cool to watch and what's the coolest idea from a science fiction standpoint, then I get a bigger kick out of this cryo-freeze thing than I do the ham radio.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, who wants to be frozen for 40 years?
Well, I don't know.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it actually really kind of sucks if you were actually asleep for 40 years.
Oh, God, that would be great.
That would be cool.
Sleeping for 40 years. What if they froze you while you were asleep? Because the problem with Stallone is that they froze him while he was still awake. Maybe if he's just sleeping he'll just dream.
They present that as a failing of the program, though.
Okay.
So, like, maybe this is a better debate for the Ziggy Awards when we're talking about which one we'd want to use. Because I don't know that I'd want to be frozen, but,
I'd rather 100%. I'd rather use the ham radio than be frozen for 40 years.
Yeah, like I said, depends on the metric then.
We can absolutely agree that this is better than the method used in About Time. Can we?
I mean, About Time, it's lame, but I'd much rather do it that way.
Look, if we're thinking of like this in terms of what would we rather do, I think we got to go pretty low on the list. Like we would have to go to like the Time Cop rail car from the comic or like the Millennium Time Portal, because everything below that is like the time travel hammock from La Jetée.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't...
Road sign from that Beavis and Butthead episode.
Yeah, I think if we were talking about what we'd rather do, I mean, this is right above killing yourself, isn't it?
Suicide is still at the bottom of the list.
Yeah. So, but I think for the purposes of like a science fiction movie and a method of getting a character from the past to the future, this is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I think that opening title sequence I want to watch the rest of this movie. I defy anybody to watch like up to the point Spartan gets frozen and not want to watch the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm thinking,
right under the time regressor.
Oh, no. I think Kenneth's boat comes above this. I'm going to put it under Kenneth's boat and above the ham radio.
Under the boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
The boat's really cool. The boat's pretty cool.
Yeah, as I was editing last week's episode, I was thinking, like we might have
shortchanged Kenneth a little bit.
Yeah, we might have shortchanged Kenneth. Did him a little dirty on his boat there.
He put a lot of work into that thing.
He did, and it looks pretty cool, and it works, supposedly.
All right. Cryo Prison is the current number 9 on the list.
All right. Well, Eric, thanks for being on the show and coming in to talk about this.
Yeah.
I appreciate your
Great to have you again.
Not a problem.
And look forward to your episode on Demolition Man. And if we can be of any help on that at all, definitely reach out. Let us know.
Yeah, not a problem.
Anytime you want to have us guest, I'm just sitting here waiting for the call.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch the Pizza Hut cut of this as soon as possible.
Yeah, you got to let me know what the Pizza Hut cut's like.
I saw a clip from that, and it's basically like
it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's the same, and it's just like dubbed Pizza Hut.
Is the plate the same? I want the plate that comes out with like the little nacho chips on it.
Like chip with some corn on it.
It's just a little slice of pizza.
They didn't even try. It's nacho chip.
Yeah, I really think it's just like, I don't even think they changed the Windows dressing. I think it's still the Taco Bell logo in the movie. You have to watch that and tell me, but that's what I imagine.
Really badly dubbed over too. Like, you're the guy who was outside that Pizza Hut.
Yeah, exactly.
Then my reward is dinner and dancing at Taco Bell. I mean, hey, I like Mexican food, but yeah, then my reward is dinner and dancing at Pizza Hut. I mean, hey, I like a big fat piece of pizza, but come on.
What are we talking about next week, Brian?
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Nate and I are really chomping at the bit to talk about Superman. So in one degree or another. And the next episode, we're going to talk about Superman, and we're going to talk about Fantastic Four, both of which have movies coming out this month in July.
And the very first Superman movie has a great time travel use.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. He used to be able to do that all the time back in the pre-crisis era, but we're going to single out historic time travel stories from both of those comic book franchises. I think that'll be fun.
You've got the issues picked out already?
I have not settled on the Superman issue yet.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got a little bit of time.
Fantastic Four will be issue 5 from 63 with Kirby and Lee, the first appearance of Dr. Doom. And you'd think, oh, it's Dr. Doom. You know, this is the villain to end all villains. Well, the first thing he does is send them back to the time of the pirates. And the Thing inadvertently becomes Blackbeard.
God, I love comics.
Great plan. Great plan, guys.
No spoilers. Are you a comic book fan, Eric?
I worked in a comic book store for years, a Marvel comic book store, in fact, because I worked at Universal Studios down in Florida, and they have a Marvel-only comic book store down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That was like in the 90s, though, so it was a weird time for Marvel.
Hey, that was prime comic book time, though.
I was obsessed with X-Man, Nate Gray, X-Man.
Yeah.
I read that. I loved that.
Yeah, I had that series as well. I think I've got that whole series in one of my long boxes I've been moving around for the last 30 some odd years. Every time you move, you got to carry a long box somewhere.
Of course. Yeah.
or 40 of them.
Or 40 of them.
Yeah.
But labor of love. Yeah. Okay, well, that sounds good. I can't wait to dig those issues out in order to read them. But
I think I have at least 3 or 4 copies of Fantastic Four number 5. But none of them are the actual Fantastic Four number 5.
But I was going to say.
Reprints, I've got them in collected editions. I've got them, all this stuff.
Right.
Obviously, I don't have 5 copies of Fantastic Four number 5.
All right, so you're going to mail me one of your reprints for that, is what you're telling me.
Probably not.
Thanks, Brian. All right.
Well, folks, thanks for listening. Please do reach out to us at ohboyqlpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of Demolition Man.
Eric, where can people find you?
Mostly just on YouTube. Go to the Unapologetic Geek on YouTube, and you'll find me there. The bodybuilder, whose name was also the Unapologetic Geek, seems to have disappeared, so you don't have to worry about
what?
There was like a fitness guy who also had a YouTube channel called the Unapologetic Geek, but he only had like 300 subscribers or something, and then he just vanished one day.
Was he
his
like
YouTube channel got deleted or something?
Like geek in the like circus sideshow sense? Where
I
like,
think
eat,
that's
like,
what he meant.
Fish?
Yes.
Sounds to me like you won the franchise war.
Oh, I totally won that franchise
Nice
war.
work.
Yes.
Nice work
for you.
Make sure you like and subscribe to the Unapologetic Geek, and
Yeah,
also,
and like I was already teasing, I also have been obsessed with Superman lately, and I covered Superman 4 and Supergirl. So yeah.
Oh, those are good ones. There's a new Supergirl movie coming out too.
Yeah.
That should be better than the Helen Slater one.
We all got to chase that algorithm. You know, it's really important.
So chase the algorithm to Tug's page, like and subscribe.
Yes,
make sure you subscribe to our show on whatever your preferred podcast app is, so you never miss an episode. And out there in the wasteland, the hellish wasteland of social media, I am brian.lee.martin on Instagram and Threads, and at Captain Burn on Blue Sky.
And I am at Action Nate on both Blue Sky and Threads.
And folks, thanks for listening. As always, I'm Brian.
And I'm Nate.
And I'm Eric.
And we'll see you in the future.
What do we do? How will we live? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out drinking, all of us, get shit-faced and paint the town, literally. Put up graffiti, slogans. It'll be a blast.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. Why don't you get a little dirty? You will act clean. And somewhere in the middle, I don't know, you'll figure it out.
Fucking A.